That's probably not a good idea. After Lars retired, I spent 26 years as a dedicated Air Force wife. And after he retired, it was time for him to find his next career, which he found SpaceX, and that was really exciting. And we moved into our new house, and I sat down and I went, okay, now it's my turn. And I opened the want ads and I looked for Air Force wife wanted. Air Force. There was nothing there. And the first time in my life, I got to focus on myself. It's really a weird feeling. Focus on Jill. Weird. I go, what is it that I want to do? I mean, Lars wants to go to space. That's what he wants to do. He found his bliss. What was my bliss? I have to say, it took about 6 months for me to kind of figure out what direction I wanted to go in. And it was the direction of making sure that that spirit of just trying, that spirit of achieving your most wildest dream stays alive. So that little kid that has that idea to make it to Mars in a week, I know that kid's out there someplace. Maybe. Then he has the courage to write it down and share it with somebody. That they have the courage to push through, for people to live their bliss. A neat example of this is my First Flights book. All the proceeds from this book go to help a kid get involved with innovation and exploration. This book is full of stories of heroes that wrote and donated their stories to my book. If you were to walk into the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum and look around at all the airplanes that hang in the galleries, with the exception of one, I couldn't get a hold of Chuck Lindbergh. They wrote and donated their story to the book. That includes Scott Crossfield with the X-15, Bertrand Piccard and his capsule when he was successful. He was the one that was successful in floating around the world. And the stories go on. Chuck Yeager with X-1, and the Voyager. Dad has a story in here about the Voyager. But next time you're at Washington, D.C., and you're standing around looking at all the wonderful things that hang up above and in front of you, be sure to look at the people next to you. Because often, when we used to live in D.C., Dad would come and visit me, and he had to do two things. Dad would always do these two things. He would go visit his friends. He'd visit the Vietnam Wall. He has 3 friends there that are dear to his heart. So he says hello to his friends, and he's always surprised that there were people around the wall. I think Dad's always surprised when there's a crowd, now that I think about it. No, Dad, these people are here every day. So he visits his friends, and he goes and visits his airplane. And he stands there in the Smithsonian and looks up and doesn't tell a soul that he's there. And when we leave, he always says, you know, they could take everything away from me that they want, but they'll never take away from me the fact that I built that son of a flew around the world. So make sure that you always look to the people next to you, because it's very likely the pilot that did the most amazing thing of the airplane that you're admiring is standing right next to you. I encourage you to live your bliss. And anything that you kind of always wanted to do. There's a lady here that mentioned she wanted to write a book. Anything that you wanted to take up drawing classes, water aerobics, which was basically one of the hardest things I've ever done. And because of the mashed potato incident, I went to culinary school. And so many people say to me, oh man, I always wanted to go to culinary school. I'm here to encourage you to go, to take the dance class, to write the book. Write the book. If you have any questions or encouragement about book publishing or anything, I'm here. Here's my email. Please feel free to give me a call. If you've ever always wanted to fly, learn to fly. It's spectacular. So live your bliss, and please, if you're on Facebook or Twitter,